carbs at night without a spike sounds like a fantasy until you understand what your body is asking for after sunset. If you're over 60, there is a simple pairing you can use before bed that calms your glucose and actually helps your sleep. Think of it like tucking your metabolism in for the night with the exact nutrients it wants. Give me a little time and I'll give you a practical formula you can use tonight, real examples straight from the pantry, and a 7-day plan to prove to yourself that you can enjoy evening carbohydrates without paying for it in the morning. This isn't about cutting everything you love. It's about timing, portion, and smart partners on the plate so you're liver idles instead of racing while you sleep. Here's the honest backdrop most people never hear. As the day fades, insulin sensitivity does too. Your muscles behave like sponges in the morning and like hand towels at night. Digestion slows a notch, evening movement is usually lighter, and the liver is busy preparing for tomorrow by releasing a little extra glucose, what many of you know as the dawn phenomenon. Stack a bowl of fast carbs on top of those rhythms and you get a steep rise, micro-awakenings you barely remember, a dry mouth on the nightstand, maybe a calf cramp, and a number in the morning that feels unfair. The goal is not to go to bed hungry. The goal is to give your body a steady signal before sleep that is calming, not exciting, something that says, plenty available, no need to dump sugar, while keeping your stomach comfortable enough to rest. When you get that signal right, night hunger backs off, bathroom trips reduce, and your meter greets you more kindly. The tool you'll use is a simple bedtime pairing I call 4PS plus A. It sounds cute, it's really a memory trick for a physiologic truth. Start with a modest portion of carbohydrate. Think half a cup cooked as your starting point or a small slice if it's bread, not a restaurant bowl. Choose a protein that's easy to digest and high quality, because protein tells the gut to slow down and the liver to relax its sugar faucet. Add a plant fiber that makes gentle gel, the viscous kind that turns a trickle into a whisper, like chia, ground flax, psyllium, or even the soluble fiber in oats or beans. Include a protective fat in a tiny dose, not a pour, because a teaspoon of olive oil or a few walnuts can temper the meal without turning it heavy. And when you tolerate it, finish with an acidic or aromatic note, just a hint of vinegar on a salad or a shake of cinnamon or a spoon of pure cocoa in a dairy base, because that small signal tends to soften the glucose curve for many people without adding sugar. Portion, protein, plant fiber, protective fat, and optional acid or spice. 4PS plus A. That's your bedtime metronome. A question I hear all the time is how much carbohydrate at night is safe. The boring answer is that it depends on your medications, your movement, your sleep, and your individual response. The practical answer is to begin small and let your data guide you. For most older adults looking for a calm night, a half-cup cooked portion is a smart starting line for starches like rice, potatoes, or beans, and a single, dense slice for bread. If it's fruit, think half of a small apple or a small handful of berries folded into a protein base, not a full fruit on its own. You might learn that your personal lane is a third of a cup. You might learn it's 3/4. What you won't do is guess. You'll pick a portion, pair it correctly, test for a week, and adjust. There are quiet kitchen tricks that turn the same carb into a softer curve. If you cook rice or potatoes earlier in the day, let them cool completely in the refrigerator, and then reheat gently at dinner. A portion of the starch transforms into resistant starch, a type your body digests more slowly. The calories do not disappear, the speed changes. Beans already come with this slower profile, and a bowl cooked tender is friendlier at night than one that is underdone. Fermentation changes the equation, too. A true sourdough loaf, the kind that ferments slowly, tends to hit gentler than a quick yeast white bread. Kefir, plain yogurt, and cultured buttermilk bring live cultures and a protein plus fat base that works beautifully with a small sprinkle of oats or seeds. Acids and spices are tiny levers. A teaspoon of vinegar whisked into olive oil for your side salad or a dusting of cinnamon in your evening yogurt isn't magic, but it's a nudge many of you will feel. And those viscous fibers, chia, ground flax, or a measured spoon of psyllium, are the quiet masters of bedtime calm when used thoughtfully. Let me show you what this looks like in bowls and plates you'll actually enjoy. If you're in a sweet mood but refuse to wake with a spike, you could take plain Greek yogurt, about 170 grams, stir in a tablespoon of chia and a tablespoon of coarse rolled oats, dust with cinnamon, and let it sit for a few minutes so the chia blooms. You've just used protein, viscous fiber, a slow spoon of carbohydrate, protective fat from the dairy, and a spice that keeps things in line. If sour appeals to you, pour a small glass of plain kefir, fold in a handful of raspberries, and add a spoon of chopped walnuts. That gives you a modest carbohydrate tucked into protein and fat with fiber in the fruit and nuts. If you're in an apple mood, slice half a small apple thin, spread a tablespoon of natural peanut butter across the slices or dip them lightly, and shake cinnamon over the top. Chew slowly, let the protein and fat from the peanut butter lead, not the apple. On the savory side, that dense slice of real sourdough with ricotta or cottage cheese and a thread of olive oil is a gem. The bread is fermented, the portion is single, the protein is real, and the fat is protective but small. You could make an omelet with 1 egg plus extra whites or a couple of eggs if that fits your protein target, toss in chopped herbs and spinach, and serve it with 3 or 4 small pieces of cooked cassava or potato that you made earlier and reheated. If tinned fish is your friend, a few forkfuls of sardines or tuna mashed with lemon and pepper next to a half cup of reheated potato drizzled with a teaspoon of olive oil is old-fashioned and perfect for a calm night. A Brazilian plate that follows this formula beautifully is a half ladle of cooled and reheated rice with half a ladle of beans, a palm-sized piece of lean protein, and a generous salad dressed with vinegar and olive oil. If you prefer a glass, a blended bowl of kefir or plain yogurt with a teaspoon of pure cocoa, a spoon of oats, a spoon of ground flax, and a few ice cubes eaten with a spoon rather than sipped like a soda is a bedtime classic. Notice the pattern. The carb is small, the protein is steady, the fiber is viscous, the fat is a thread, and the acid or spice is present if you tolerate it. The routine around the food is part of the medicine. Eat dinner 2 to 3 hours before bed when you can. That timing respects slower night digestion. If your schedule or hunger calls for a snack, place the bedtime pairing 30 to 60 minutes before you plan to sleep so your stomach can settle and your brain can downshift. After dinner, move your body for 10 to 15 minutes in any way that feels easy and safe. Walk the hallway, fold laundry while standing, tidy the kitchen, water the plants. Gentle muscle work at this hour pulls glucose out of circulation like a friendly sponge and turns a steep slope into a hill. Keep most of your water earlier in the evening so bladder alarms don't steal your deep sleep, and create a simple wind down. Lower the lights, stretch your calves and hamstrings for a minute, breathe slowly through your nose, so your nervous system knows night mode is on. The plate does most of the work, but the frame matters. I want you to test this like a scientist and keep it practical like a cook. On the first 2 nights, don't change everything at once. Eat your usual dinner, choose one of the pairings I mentioned 30 to 60 minutes before bed, and simply write how you slept, whether you woke hungry, whether you visited the bathroom, and how you felt at dawn. On nights 3 and 4, apply the 4PS plus A formula on purpose to a snack you already like. Keep the carb portion small. Half a cup cooked or 1 slice, not 2, and note any change in sleep or thirst. On nights 5 and 6, bring a resistant starch or fermentation technique into dinner. Cook rice or potatoes earlier, cool them completely, reheat gently. Choose true sourdough over white, use kefir or plain yogurt as the base for your pairing, and keep the pairing modest if you still want a bedtime bite. On night 7, read your notes. Circle the 2 combinations that gave you the calmest night and the kindest morning. Those become your weeknight anchors. Because you're over 60 and your body is honest about it, a few adjustments make this work smoother. Lean into high-quality protein at night. You don't need a steak at 10 o'clock. You do want enough protein across the evening to protect your muscle and keep your overnight curve from wobbling. Dairy proteins are slow by nature, eggs are friendly, fish is easy, tofu slides into bowls without fuss. If fiber has made you bloated in the past, start with low doses of viscous fibers and increase slowly. A teaspoon of chia in yogurt may suit you better than a heaped tablespoon on night 1. Ground flax is gentler than whole seeds. If you try psyllium, use a small measured amount mixed into food or water earlier in the evening and keep your medicines 2 hours away so absorption isn't delayed. This is not a race. It's a rhythm. Safety is the reason I keep repeating the word modest. This plan does not replace your medications. If you use insulin or a sulfonylurea, any evening change that lowers your glucose curve can put you at risk for a dip. That's a success to manage, not a reason to avoid improvement. Work with your clinician on how to adjust doses safely if your morning numbers come down. If reflux or gastritis is part of your life, prefer softer, savory pairings, keep fat portions small, skip vinegar and citrus at night, and leave at least an hour between your last bite and lying down. If you live with kidney disease, consult your clinician about protein targets and mineral loads. You can still use the formula, you'll simply pick your proteins, portions, and plant fibers to match your plan. The promise here is calm, not drama. Now let's call out the traps that make night spikes feel inevitable. A piece of fruit by itself before bed is almost always a mistake if you're chasing a steady morning. It's not that fruit is bad, it's that lonely sugar at night is a fast elevator up. Fruit belongs tucked into protein and fiber in a small amount, not eaten naked at 10 p.m. Juices and smoothies in tall glasses are worse. The blender does your chewing and your stomach has no reason to pause. Plain cookies and white crackers are silent culprits, small, yes, but all starch and no breaks. A flavored yogurt with sugar and syrupy fruit looks like a health food and behaves like dessert. And the pattern of 0 carbs all day and a mountain at night is a roller coaster that punishes you at dawn. Your muscles are more insulin sensitive when you're awake and moving. Give them your starch then. Give your night a whisper. I know there are myths that live rent-free in our heads, so let's evict a few. Carbs at night do not automatically cause weight gain. Portion and pairing decide the story far more than the clock. A banana alone does not fix nighttime lows in a sustainable way. If you're treating a low, follow your clinician's plan, and when you're making a bedtime choice to prevent dips, Pair a small carb with protein and viscous fiber so you don't boomerang. Tea is lovely, but tea without an adjusted plate won't tame a spike that started with the wrong snack. The gentlest truth is this: when you respect the rhythm of your evening biology, you earn comfort and calmer numbers with far less effort than you'd think. Let me walk you through a few full-plate nights so you can feel how this works in real life. Imagine Wednesday. Dinner is at 6:30. You grill a palm-sized piece of chicken or tofu, steam broccoli until it's bright and tender, and scoop a half cup of rice you cooked that morning and chilled, then reheated now. You dress a side salad with a teaspoon of olive oil and a teaspoon of vinegar, toss slowly, and eat the salad first. After dinner, you carry laundry down the hall, fold a basket, and water the plants. 10 minutes later, your legs feel warm, your brain feels quieter. At 8:45, if you want a snack, you take a small bowl of plain yogurt, stir in a teaspoon of chia and a dusting of cinnamon, and read a chapter before bed. You sleep in longer stretches. Your morning number is flatter. The same calories, different choreography, better curve. Another night you're craving bread. You slice one piece of true sourdough, toast it lightly, spread 2 generous tablespoons of ricotta, sprinkle a pinch of salt, a grind of pepper, and drizzle a teaspoon of olive oil across the top. You chew slowly. You feel satisfied rather than heavy. You go to bed on time without that odd throat heat that comes with sugar. You wake without the sandpaper mouth. Your meter smiles a little. On Sunday you want fruit. You slice half a small apple, dip the slices in a tablespoon of peanut butter stirred until smooth, and dust cinnamon on top. You put the rest of the apple away. You take a warm shower, stretch your calves for a minute, and keep your blankets off your toes so your feet don't point and trigger a cramp. Your sleep is simple. Monday feels kinder. If you're someone who likes a plan written down, here's how you'll test this without turning your kitchen into a lab. For 2 nights, keep dinner as usual and add one calm pairing 30 to 60 minutes before bed. For the next 2 nights, deliberately deploy the 4PS plus A on your pairing and keep the carb truly modest. For nights 5 and 6, change your dinner carb technique to a resistant starch-friendly method or choose a fermented partner like kefir or sourdough, then decide if you still want a pairing or if dinner carries you comfortably. The 7th night is for reading your own notes and choosing your 2 winners. You are not married to any one snack. You are married to your response. People often ask how this helps with those little night problems that don't feel like glucose at all. The answer is that a calm curve often calms everything. When your blood sugar isn't whipsawing, your brain's sleep centers don't jolt awake as easily. The bladder doesn't feel like it must empty as often. The calf muscle that locks up at 2 a.m. has fewer excuses to spasm when the night isn't a sugar roller coaster. You wake less thirsty. You turn less in the sheets. Your morning feels more yours. If you like numbers, keep it simple. Write the portion you chose, what you paired it with, what time you ate it, how you slept, whether you woke hungry, and your fasting glucose. If you use a continuous glucose monitor, look at the shape of the curve, not just the dots. A gentle hill that rises and falls is a success. A stepladder is not. If your morning numbers start falling more than you expect and you use insulin or a sulfonylurea, that's the moment to talk to your clinician. Your plan is working and your dose may need a tune-up. You may be worried that having anything at night means weight gain. The irony is that the right pairing often reduces late-night snack hunting. Protein and viscous fiber turn off the itch that sends you back to the pantry. People who use this formula honestly often find they eat less, not more, without forcing it. Your job is not to be hungry, your job is to be steady. You also deserve permission to enjoy your food. A bowl of kefir with cocoa and oats is delicious. Toast with ricotta and olive oil is satisfying. Reheated potatoes under a thread of oil next to sardines is rustic and perfect. Rice and beans with salad and lean protein taste like home. These are not punishments. These are wise night companions, and when you pick them on purpose, you can stop negotiating with yourself at 10 p.m. about cookies and start sleeping. If you share a kitchen, bring your partner into the plan. Split a small bowl of yogurt with chia and cinnamon. Share the sourdough slice. Pour 2 glasses of kefir and add berries to both. You'll find it easier to keep a routine when the people around you taste the same calm. And if you live alone, prepare small portions in advance so future you doesn't have to think. Mix chia into a jar of yogurt so it's ready. Pre-slice an apple and keep half-wrapped. Cook and cool rice in a container labeled night so you don't accidentally serve the hot pot and forget the trick. Friendly laziness builds great habits. I won't leave you without a few small troubleshooting answers. If you try chia and your stomach complains, cut the amount in half and drink water earlier in the day. If peanuts at night give you a scratchy throat, switch to almond or keep your night pairing dairy-based. If vinegar burns, rely on cinnamon or pure cocoa for your aromatic note and keep acids for daytime. If you feel low 2 hours after sleep, that's not a snack problem. That's a dose timing problem to solve with your clinician. If you wake with reflux, bring your last bite earlier and keep fat tiny. If you wake to urinate, move your biggest glasses to daylight and keep the night sip modest. Every puzzle has a dial. Turn one at a time. I want you to picture yourself 7 nights from now. You have a handful of tidy notes and a feeling in your body you recognize as calm. You learned that half a cup of reheated rice next to beans and salad at dinner carries you farther than a scoop of mashed potatoes. You learned that kefir with walnuts is your quiet friend at 9, while fruit alone is not. You learned that a 10-minute hallway walk changes the shape of your curve more than you guessed. And you learned that you don't have to choose between enjoying carbs at night and waking steady, you have to choose your partners. This is where I leave you with a clear promise. The right pairing lets you eat carbs at night with a calmer climb and a better morning. It quiets the little triggers that make sleep shallow, it reduces the nighttime snack hunt, and it gives your liver a reason to idle. You deserve that ease. Take the formula, choose your 2 favorites, and give them 7 honest nights. If you found this useful and you want to go one level deeper on the grain so many people ask about, your next step is ready. Watch The Shocking Truth About Rice, How It May Spike Blood Sugar After 60, and What to Do, and learn how to keep rice on your plate without inviting the roller coaster. Pair that knowledge with tonight's calm pairing and let your evenings become the steadiest part of your day.